Sell your shitcoins. Oh, it's working. It's working. Good, good. Welcome back. We are down to the last 3 talks of Adopting Bitcoin Cape Town 2024. The following talk, it says here that the guy's name is Nikolai Chongarero. Did I? Thanks, mate. But I don't know who Nikolai Chongarero is. I only know a guy called OKIN from Namibia who is incredibly passionate about introducing people to Bitcoin, usually via the Lightning Network and Blink Wallet. I'm really hoping that he's going to talk to us today about some of his advocacy for Bitcoin in Namibia and why Bitcoin gives you the keys to your own kingdom. I think this is going to be a fantastic talk. I really do encourage you all. Please, guys, do come in and sit down. Paco, come in and sit down. Come in and sit down. Okin's going to give you a fire talk just now. Come in, Joseph. Come in, Jan. Who else can I see? Come in, John. Come and take a seat. Okin. How's that for an intro, Okin? You ready for this? Come on down, man. Please welcome Okin to the stage. You. Do you want this or this?
I'll take the handout. It's always better. Oh, clicker, green is next. All right. Awesome. Wow. Can you guys hear me? I can hear myself. All right. So thank you all for coming through. And of course, thank you all the organizers for allowing me this opportunity to share how Bitcoin gives you the keys to your own kingdom. My name is Nikolai Chongarero, also known as Okin for most of you. I love Bitcoin. I hate shitcoins, even though I was a shitcoiner once upon a time. So what we're going to talk about, firstly, before I move on, is my favorite quote of all time from Andreas Antonopoulos, which is, Bitcoin isn't about banking the unbanked. It's about unbanking us all. And I think that's a great start for how we look at how Bitcoin really gives you the keys to your own kingdom. Now, who am I and why should you listen to me about Bitcoin? Now, there's a lot of stuff up there. I've done a couple of things in my life, but 3 things on what led me to find out how I could actually get my own keys to my kingdom. The first one, I am 1/3 of an award-winning hip-hop poetry group known as Black Vulcanite. We released 2 albums and got into Rolling Stone magazine for it as well. I'm also an internationally published poet a couple of times over, and everything else, the honors, they don't matter. What matters is I'm a Bitcoin node runner, a miner, and I have the Bitcoin for Everybody and Bitcoin for Developer certificates. Now, why do these matter more than who I am? So if you actually see these 3, is there a pointer here? Yes, there is. Okay, so cool. What happened was, this is the group that I'm part of, 1/3 of, right? 1, 2, 3. It's called Black Vulcanite, 2 rappers and a poet. So after we finished doing our first album, started doing our second, COVID hit, everything. I already had equipment. I was in China. I bought the equipment, and I said, you know what? I can't do any business right now. I did voiceovers. Everybody's under lockdown. Nobody is asking for voiceovers. So what did I do? I took that equipment, and I started a podcast. I said, everybody I know around the world, all my creative friends, they also can't go anywhere. Let me call them, and let's have a conversation between creatives, right, and see what comes up. Once I did this, season 1 started making, I started charting every here and there, and Apple, what, and I was like, how do I monetize this, right? Because at that time, I'm not making any money. Voiceovers have dried up. My consumer insights jobs have dried up. So I said, okay, let me take this, and I'm going to run with it. I tweeted out, hey, how do I monetize my podcast? So the guy that in 2012 and in 2016 tried to get me into Bitcoin, Becoming Full, he owns the only regulated company in Namibia, Bitcoin-only company. He said, check out Podcasting 2.0. And I said, okay, Podcasting 2.0, what is that? Let me just quickly jump forward. Yeah, there we go. So Podcasting 2.0 allowed me to realize my dream of how do I get paid in Bitcoin while people are listening to my podcast. So I went through it, read the documentation, spoke to Adam Curry, and then I implemented it for myself, right? And of course, I spoke to who else but Breeze. And the reason I chose Breeze was the Breeze app tends to have a podcasting section within the app. So you don't have to download a separate application. Within the Breeze app, you could listen to my podcast and pay me from your Breeze wallet while you're listening to it. So that's how I monetized my podcast the first time. I didn't know I was, at the point in time, the first African podcaster to do this. So I still hold that title as the first African podcaster to be paid in Bitcoin. Now, just moving back a bit, I want to give you guys a few facts of why I think Bitcoin in Namibia makes so much sense and why I'm so passionate about orange pilling people in my country. So, a few facts about Namibia. The Namibian population is about 2.7 million people in a land mass of over 820,000 square kilometers. So that's massive, right? What this means is Namibia is the second least densely populated country in the world. The only people above us are Inner Mongolia, and they are tiny compared to how big my country is. So why is this a reality? How did this happen? Well, Namibia during 1904 and 1908, 1907, or 1907 to 1908, was the country where Germany committed the first Holocaust, or first genocide of the 20th century, right? So basically what happened was, what they did and tested out on the Namibians, they then took and then they perfected it there, and then they did it on the Jews in World War II. And that's how the concentration camps and everything came around on that. So they decreased the Namibian population by doing extermination orders, and that's how our population has never really grown. Of course, I'm only going to tell you one more fact. In 1990, Namibia gained independence from South Africa. We were also under apartheid rules since 1966, or even a bit before that. And why is this relevant for today's talk? Well, the Namibian dollar is pegged to the South African rand, which means it's 1-to-1 for us. But if anything happens to the South African rand, like the gray listing, Namibia also takes the brunt of that. So this is why I think Bitcoin is really a liberating factor for Namibia, because it allows us to depeg from the rand onto something stronger without losing the ability to help our people. Now, in 2020, the governor of the Central Bank of Namibia, in September 2020, came out and he made this statement, which says, the decision to accept a virtual asset for goods or services is between the vendor and the customer. He ended it off saying, if anything goes wrong, we as the central bank cannot help you, so do not call us. Effectively, this ended the ban on Bitcoin in Namibia. Bitcoin was banned until he made this statement saying, hey, if you guys want to do it between you, that's fine. We can't do anything to help you or to deter you. This was the greatest statement that I've ever heard from a central bank governor, because it allowed me to do this. Okay? So this is the entire talk, actually. This is all we're going to talk about. I'm going to tell you guys how From the Jump, hashtag From the Jump, gave me keys to my own kingdom. I've already started with that. We're going to move on to KYC-free BTC. Of course, the Azteco vouchers, how we implemented that in Namibia and why we implemented it. And then we're going to move on to the last part, which is the TPOK edutainment sessions. Now, I'm not sure we're going to get to renewable energy and be able to watch that video, but we will see. All right, so cool. As I said, with Podcasting 2.0, the whole deal was just I needed something to do, and I found a way to monetize it. But once I monetized it, I said, I know a lot of creatives in Namibia that don't have work. Not even just because of COVID, they're broke. So if I can get paid with Bitcoin, they can get paid with Bitcoin. So how would we do that? How would we go about telling people, and how do we make it easy for them to get their Bitcoin? Because again, EasySats is the company, and the reason is making it easy for people to get their Satoshis. So when I started in Bitcoin, I was using Binance. And if you buy in Binance at the point in time then, let's say you buy 500 Rand and you want to move it into self-custody, the fee for that was 300 Rand. So effectively, I'm paying 500 Rand to only get 200 Rand worth of Bitcoin. Now, if I'm orange pilling gardeners, the guys that put gas in your car, the ladies that clean your house, I cannot tell them they're going to lose that much money from trying to buy Bitcoin. It doesn't make sense. And that's why we found Azteco Bitcoin vouchers. I scoured the internet to see how can I bring that barrier of entry from 300 Rand down to 20 Rand. Now, in my country, 20 Rand will buy you 4 loose cigarettes. It's all it takes for you to buy Bitcoin, 4 loose cigarettes. And you can get yourself some freedom money. So that's why we use the Azteco Bitcoin vouchers, because it's KYC free. Nobody knows you bought that Bitcoin. It's like going into a store, buying mobile airtime, and walking out. It's exactly the same process. It also comes with a 16-digit code that you can put in. So like with Machankura in Namibia, you do star 140 star 8333 star the 16 digits hash, and then you've redeemed your Bitcoin. So that's as easy as it goes to tell somebody, hey, you don't have a smartphone, this is how you can get Bitcoin, right? So that was the first step, making it really easy for people to get Bitcoin. The second step is what everybody argues about on Twitter. Custodial, non-custodial, this wallet, that wallet. So the one day I had a TPOK session. Download both wallets. One is your transactional account, that's Blink. One is your vault, that's Blue Wallet. You do not use your vault every day. You use your transactional account and you move the money over when necessary. So this started a conversation just by the picture being up amongst people at the TPOK session. I will explain what TPOK means just now. To say, hey, I don't only need either or. I can download both. I don't have to be the Lightning wallet camp or just the completely self-sovereign camp. I can do both. I have a choice, which is the point of Bitcoin. And then what is a TPOK edutainment session? So TPOK stands for the pursuit of knowledge. And that's what we're trying to get people. We're trying to convey knowledge that we've obtained to people that are seeking that knowledge. So what we do is, of course, we started off with download both wallets, but even though it's displayed on the screen, right, like there, it actually comes on the tickets that people buy for entrance. So on your ticket, it will say, download both wallets, and it will have a QR code for Apple, Android, for all, like it is right here. Now, why do we do that? Because when people come to the door at any TPOK event, they get a portion of their ticket money back in Bitcoin at the gate. So when they come there and I'm like, do you have your ticket? They say, yes, sir, here's my ticket. I say, okay, thank you very much. Did you download the wallets? Yes, I did. Okay, open your Blink wallet. And then I give them half their ticket money back. That was the first one. We look sometimes half, sometimes 25%. Now, for most people, when you buy a ticket, you get nothing back. But you're getting freedom money, something that is scarce. Somebody is giving you back at the event, and now you already have some. You didn't even have to pay for it. So technically, you could buy Bitcoin by just buying a ticket to one of our TPOK events, and you'll get some. Again, KYC free, nobody knows that you did this. They can't stop you. Once you have that and you come inside the event, we try to make it not a lecture. Like this is more than I speak at my own events. We try to make it educational, but entertaining as well. One of our favorite things is, as you know, DJs do not like to take requests. At TPOK events, there's a QR code by the DJ booth. You pay the DJ to take your request. So that in itself changes the norm. Firstly, you got paid back money for buying a ticket. Secondly, you can actually make requests from the DJ and you can tip him and he will play your song. So things like this start changing the narrative around what is this Bitcoin thing. Then we go into talking about what is money. Discuss it, what is money, what is currency, all of that. Then we go into what is Bitcoin. Then we go into what is the Lightning Network and why, right? And then when people are like, oh, I think I kind of get it, I'm like, okay, you all have Blink wallets. Cool, cool, cool. Did you guys, and I walk them through setting up the Blink wallet. It takes about half an hour, but they're all sitting in front of me like you guys are, so I only have to do it once. Once that happens, sorry, I do speak fast because I'm trying, this is still a bit. Once that happens and they have the Blink wallet, we move on to the second last step. Tell them, give me one by one. I'm like, what's your Lightning address? 5 Rand. What's your Lightning address? 5. So everybody gets some free sats initially into the Lightning wallet, right? When they get that, they've now already understood how to, because remember, the talk of this is, just quickly, one more. How to accept and how to earn Bitcoin. That's what the TPOK sessions are about. We're not about talking about what decentralization is, nothing like that. Because first we have to start somewhere. So when we give people those first few sats, I tell them, you send the next person 2 sats. Not even a full dollar or a rand, send them 2 sats. See what it's like to send somebody something. And for you, see what it's like when you're receiving it. Now we've already done most of the work. These guys now know how to accept Bitcoin and how to send it to somebody else, also including their vault in, the Blue wallet. So they've now made themselves a little self-sovereign thing. And then, of course, people are like, yeah, but how does Bitcoin get secured? And we give a little talk on Bitcoin mining. Not too in-depth, just enough so that they will go and do their own research. Because, again, Bitcoin is responsibility technology, so it's about helping people get there. What we also do, what we also do is This is the first, this is the Wolf Shack. It was the first venue in Namibia to publicly accept Bitcoin. What they also allowed me to do was come through at about 10 a.m. in the morning after they were buying me drinks the previous night. I was hungover. I was there 10 a.m. in the morning. And who you're seeing here are the cleaners, the bar ladies and barmen, and chefs of this establishment. It took me about an hour. Everybody has a Blink wallet. They all understand how to accept Bitcoin. They all know how to use the company phone so that if anybody comes to the bar and says, I want to pay in Bitcoin, they can. But this was step one, was just to make sure everybody in the establishment understood it, could use it, could accept it for themselves as a tip, and of course could spend it. The step after that was to make sure I didn't need to be present, right? Because again, I always tell people, the way I want you to use Bitcoin is I want you to understand it to a point that I can die tomorrow and you can still use it. You don't need me. That's the point of Bitcoin. So what I did was I came up with these, let's call them helpers. So this one is an actual poster. That one is an actual poster. You can see the Machankura steps at the bottom. We put these up at establishments so you can scan a QR code, you can get information. Literally, this one will take you to a folder that has all of these brochures in English, Afrikaans, German, French, Chinese simplified, and Portuguese. Right? So you can learn about Bitcoin in your own language without somebody having to explain it to you. What we also do is the front of those brochures are in Blink Wallet, how to download the wallet and use it. We have Phoenix Wallet and we have Blue Wallet. So people can choose which wallet they want to use, how they want to move forward. And that is the choice that Bitcoin gives you, right? These are how you get the keys to your own kingdom because you don't need somebody else's keys. You have all the info in front of you. Now, the last reason that I want to say I put this up was this is the most important part of those brochures. What it shows you is the months for 4 different years, same month every year. Okay, it shows you the petrol price in Rand, and it shows you how it's increasing year on year. The third column is that same petrol price at that same date in Bitcoin. And you see how it's costing you less and less in Bitcoin as you move forward. Ah, man, I switched it off. Okay, so literally this section right here. So this is the Bitcoin ones, that's the fiat, and then, of course, that's the dates. So when people see it in their own hands, they don't need me there. They can read it. They can actually go and verify it themselves. Hence, it's the ethos of Bitcoin for me. You don't need a third party to let you know what's going on. Now, of course, some of you would have gotten this card. I hope I gave it to most of you. And this is also about showing people how they can take that self-ownership and make sure people can see, oh, I can get paid in Bitcoin. People tell me, OKIN, how do people pay you in Bitcoin? Remember that business card I gave you? Yeah. All right, scan the QR code that says Blink and pay me. Or the one that says Machankura and pay me. It's done. You want to book use the QR code in the middle and you can book an appointment. So now what you're doing is you're allowing people to, at their own time, learn about things. If you scan that Blink QR code and you don't have a Blink wallet, it'll actually take you to the Blink website to get a Blink wallet, right? So again, putting the power back in the people's hands. All right, so we're almost done, don't worry. Are you guys still with me? You're alive? Sorry, I know I talk kind of fast, so let me know if you need me to slow down. So I just want to show you guys this because I don't really do a lot of words, but this is the owner of the second place in Namibia to accept Bitcoin. That place is a paintball establishment, has some of the best food as well. And why this owner is so happy was when I brought him his Blink poster, so the people at the bar no longer need the phone. All you got to do is scan the QR code and pay. And he loves it because he doesn't have to be there anymore, right? Anybody can do this and just show that the bill was paid. But he used to have like a shitcoin thing here. And then he took it off immediately when he saw me come with this. The reason I have this one here is how I decided was the best way to get people to understand Bitcoin was to go to car guards as well. If your car guard accepts Bitcoin, your first question is why, right? And Machankura allowed us to get Lucas M., who's never had a smartphone in his life, a Bitcoin wallet, because he can do it on his feature phone. But once I tweeted out that I was going to raise money for Lucas M., what happened was a Bitcoiner anonymously said, how much is a smartphone? I told him how much it was in Satoshis. He said, send me the invoice for 510,000 Satoshis. And that afternoon, Lucas M had a brand new Nokia smartphone. The reason that Lucas M wanted this phone was he wanted to learn how to earn Bitcoin playing games like Snake, Sudoku, Solitaire, because he sits in front of a place that has Wi-Fi the entire day and he's watching cars. So he can literally pay himself. Oh man, that's the wrong way. Over here we have this lady over here. She helps orphanages bring money into the country. For her, Bitcoin means she doesn't have to worry about bank costs, any of those things. Again, showing her how she can create an entire kingdom of what she needs to exist through Bitcoin without anybody else's permission. As you can see down here is the posters that we had, and people that have come to these events. I've only done 3 TPOK events in the past 2 years. I have started their own events. This is a comedy show by the Winter Comedy Club where they're like, you see, it says, got milk, and they scratch out the milk, and they're like, got Bitcoin? So comedy shows are starting to now charge tickets in Bitcoin in Namibia because they're starting to see, hey, that 20,000 sats I got for the ticket, over time, that accumulates. And I can see how it's giving me actually something that I can pass on either to my kids, go on holiday with, or something that I can't do with rands or dollars. Now, there's one man I want to show you guys, and this is my friend over here, Humphrey. Humphrey's awesomeness is this. Not only is he a car god, or he works as a car god that enjoys Bitcoin, but he came to me one day and he said, hey, OKIN, if I make this Bitcoin, can I like go to Bitrefill, buy airtime, and sell that to people? And I said, you've got it. So what he does now is, if you want 5 rand worth of airtime, he'll sell it to you for 7. He is making his Bitcoin that he earned, didn't buy, become physical, adding a premium onto it, okay? And then he can use that to go buy bread, milk, whatever he needs. And then the last picture, that's my niece. She's the karting champion of Namibia. She's 13 years old, and she accepts Bitcoin. Yeah, she accepts Bitcoin for donations for her tires of her car so that she doesn't have to pay it herself. Now, she's 13 years old. She cannot get a bank account, but she can accept Bitcoin. And she knows that she can go to Smoky Mare if she wants to get a pizza, and she can buy it herself. And that is empowering a generation of kids who are always being told, wait till you get older. Now, she can tell her friends, hey, I can buy us a pizza. We don't have to wait for our parents. So for me, what Bitcoin has allowed every and anybody in Namibia to do, oh, we got nice time still, is to say, how do I free myself from the system that always was in what I like to call economic emancipation? How do I, 10 years old, 20 years old, 89 years old, do what I want to do instead of what people allow me to do? And to show you just how far it goes, I also bring in Bitcoin miners for people, because I'm a Bitcoin miner. And the last Bitcoin miner I brought in, this was what the man had to say. I hope you can hear it.
Hey Nico, I just thought I'd send you this little video, show you what I've been working on. Over here we have a sound box muffler and aeration system to cool the miner inside. So this is air in, right? It's busy working. As you can see, air is flowing, right? The miner is inside here. It's currently working, right? You see the green light flashing. Hella noise, hella heat. Alright, this is air out. A lot of hot air.
So, okay, I had to stop the video there because I thought I was going to run out of time. But effectively what happened was this man in November asked me, in about October, can I get him a Bitcoin miner? Said, no problem. Brought the miner down, put it in his house, helped him switch it on, helped him sign out to Brains Pool, everything, showed him other pools, showed him how to go about it. A couple of weeks later, he messages me, he's like, hey, Nico, this is what I built, you know, because my wife is really angry about the noise of this thing, and I'll build one for anybody else that you know. He just started a new business. He now builds sound mufflers for Bitcoin miners in Namibia, homemade, and he can ship it around the entire country. He's got an engineering degree, so of course he could do it, but it gave him another avenue to earn off of an offshoot of him buying something. And that is what I mean by Bitcoin gives you keys to your own kingdom. You don't even know that that's the kingdom you want yet. But once you get involved in Bitcoin, once you use Bitcoin, once you speak to Bitcoiners and really understand what's going on, you start thinking like Bitcoiners. You start thinking, what's the next thing I can do? How can I push this further? Who else can I tell and bring in on this? And it starts becoming a thing of collaboration and not competition. And that is why I believe Bitcoin gives you keys to your own kingdom. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Got it? Yeah. I still have a minute.
Yeah, no, you do. And what we're going to do with that minute is, if you'd be so obliging, would you like to do some Q&A with the audience? 'Cause I've spoken way too much, and that was super interesting. Does anyone have a burning question for OKIN, or more generally about Bitcoin in Namibia? Yes, we have a question. There's a mic right there for you, sir.
OKIN, how's it, man? Stu here, you know me.
Oh, good stuff. How you doing?
Tell me more about the mining. Like, you know, some guy doesn't have a lot of bucks, you know, what does it cost him in electricity? What is he earning?
Okay. Awesome, awesome. So as most people know, Namibia, or not know, Namibia has been touted as being the capital for green hydrogen for the world, right? Again, we have this abundance of resources and stuff that nobody's using. So what we're doing with mining in Namibia, in the sense, that man had the money. He literally paid for that money, or that miner, in Bitcoin. He paid Bitcoin for that miner, right? I brought it in, everything. But he is willing to actually put out the electricity costs. Now, Namibia is known for having a ridiculous amount of solar power, and you know, everybody's putting up solar everywhere because we literally have sun 360 days out of the year. So what he did was, he literally put up his own solar panels, and he's running it that way because, you know, of course, it's his wife. But now, the other part of this is, because of all the resources Namibia have, we're talking to mines and energies and like that, and trying to get them to understand how Bitcoin miners are actually energy purchasers of, you know, first and last resort, and in that way help not only stabilize grids, but make sure that you can put grids where they normally wouldn't have been and push that electricity to that side. So that's, for miners in Namibia, it's not as much as, can I afford the electricity? It's, where can I go around where there is an abundance of electricity or wasted electricity to a certain degree that we can plug in and then monetize, either for self or in partnership with the people that have the electricity. Does that answer your question? Kind of? Okay, you'll get me later.
Super. Any more questions for OKIN, or even for me? Because I was going to like ramble on again, but come on, you guys paid for a ticket, you're here today, you might have something you want to ask more generally about Bitcoin, about how to Bitcoin. Yes, the student of Bitcoin. Who better to ask a question about Bitcoin? He's on the front row just here, next to the tripod. We'll go like this.
It's a question for both of you. What do you think is the biggest barrier for Bitcoin adoption when you speak to people on your daily basis?
You got this one.
I gotta take this one. Okay, so the biggest barrier that I would think for Bitcoin adoption, two. Number one might be me. I might, no, legit. I might be the biggest barrier for adoption to some people because of the character that I am. Sometimes it's not the message, it's the messenger. So that can be a very big barrier. And it has happened before. I've had to send somebody and be like, you go speak. Like, Anita Posh is I'm going to get her to orange pill somebody that I couldn't orange pill because he's Austrian, and she'll probably be able to describe it to him in a way that he doesn't want to take from me. The second one is Bitcoiners themselves. We oversell Bitcoin. I think that's the biggest problem right now is overselling Bitcoin, and not, you should fish, you know, like fishing. You give a bit, you let go, you give a bit. The thing has to come to you as well. Bitcoiners are shoving it down people's throats, and I think that's a big barrier. We need to just step back and say, hey, when you're ready to speak to me, you have the info, you have my contact details, go forth. And leave it at that. Trust that the people will actually want to know more. I think that's our biggest barrier.
Great answer. I'm not adding to that. Any other questions in the audience? Anything generally that comes to mind or that's been bugging you in your Bitcoin experience over the past 2 days or 2 years or 10 years? Yes, we have another question over here.
Yeah, so when you were setting guys up with Blink, you know, in a business, like the first question I always get is, like, how do they reconcile that in the back end, like, to their accounting system or whatever?
How do they cash out?
Yeah, or,
Yeah,
or
off-ramp.
how does it hit the till? You know, like how is it? You know, how do they reconcile everything?
How do they off-ramp back into fiat? So, okay, so if I just get your question right, how do they go back into fiat? Like, do they ask those questions and?
No, sorry. I think he's asking about the bookkeeping aspect of the business. How do you reconcile the bookkeeping transactions with
Okay.
the Blink
Oh no,
wallet?
that's even simpler. So technically, whether you're using Blink, almost every single Bitcoin wallet out there has an export to CSV, export to Excel, whatever. So you can export all of your transactions, every single one. What I do tell people is keep it separate. Keep that accounting separate. Don't try to consolidate it. One is Bitcoin, one is fiat. Keep the fiat separate. All of your accounting on your Bitcoin, you can print them out and you can do it, but do not mix them. I literally tell them to keep, because it's two different systems. You wouldn't consolidate your rands and your US dollars. So don't do these two, is what I generally tell them. It's just more work that they don't need. I hope that answers your question. Awesome. Or, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I almost landed you in it. Yes, Rye at the back. Do you declare your Bitcoin transactions, everyone? The government is watching you.
So, Joe, this one's for you.
Uh-oh.
How do you convince the biggest shitcoin out there, the MSM, to get more on the Bitcoin wave, having been a former
Mate, I
MSM
tried.
journalist?
I actually have a great example of that question. How do you orange pill, I guess, mainstream media journalists? There's a lady at the Financial Times who has written oodles of FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt articles, all of them misinformed about Bitcoin. One of her best articles says that Bitcoin isn't scarce because you can infinitely divide it, and that gave birth to the infinite pizza meme, for example. I forgot her name. Jemima Kelly is her name. So I went for drinks with her at the Financial Times. I then hung out with her another time at the Financial Times, which, by the way, the Financial Times office in London is stunning. It's right in the center of the city, huge, incredible view of the London skyscraper. It's amazing. And I was like, wow, these fiat guys, they get it good. And anyway, I was trying to build a relationship with her with an eye to sort of explaining to her that Bitcoin works. And then this led to a, would you like to speak at a Bitcoin conference? You could perhaps shed that mainstream point of view to these Bitcoin people. So she came to Bitcoin Amsterdam, and she made a giant fool of herself. And you can watch the video, which is still online, and I don't think she'll be offended or care what I'm saying right now either. We're no longer really friends. But I think ultimately it comes down to the fact, and this is kind of tying into what OKIN was saying earlier as well, there's 8 billion people, or 7 and a bit billion people on this planet. Some of them just are never going to get Bitcoin. They might not be financially incentivized to get it either. So while we can try as much as we can, ultimately we're going to hit some walls. And the best thing we can do is sort of take some strength and take some resilience from those examples and put them into other ones. And just know that, unfortunately, some people just aren't going to get it. And we have to be comfortable with that. So yeah, while I'm still trying and still striving, in particular with Jemima Kelly, I still send her my documentaries from around the world. She says she watches them. She definitely doesn't. Ultimately, some people, as Satoshi says, if you don't have the time or I can't convince you, sorry, and you move on. Anything you'd like to add to that, OKIN?
Not really. I just probably just that as Bitcoiners, we're all doing great. I think all of you guys are doing amazing work. I've loved this conference. I've loved to hear about what everybody's doing. I think I just leave it with one saying, and this has been my theme for this conference: collaboration. Competition is a fiat mindset. For me to win, you have to lose. In Bitcoin, why do I need to build everything? And I always say, don't try to reinvent the wheel when you can build pulley systems. Everybody's already built their wheels. Just build the systems that use those wheels to achieve your goals. Build pulley systems, not new wheels. That's all. Collaborate.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Thank you so much. Once again, a round of applause for OKIN. And thank you as well for putting up with the impromptu Q&A. You rocked it. Thank you so much, OKIN. Fantastic. This is